Pencils in there, Winston. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Guys, I don't want to hear your voices yet. A long break because I'm talking to that parent. So, it looks like hopefully we're going to have Homie join us next week.
Who?
I forget his name, the boy. Alright, well, anyway, look. This is what we're going to call this. Shh. This guy's name is
Pony.
Cat cat. Cat cat pig. Cat cat pig.
Oh.
Cat cat pig. Sorry.
Cat Pinbick.
Cat
Cat Pinbick. Cat Pinbick is, of course,
cat.
a cat who likes to attack public infrastructure projects. Attacks on public infrastructure.
No.
You speak truth, Chanel. It is indeed nay.
Yes.
On public infrastructure.
That's so many.
Yeah, nay. Okay, now, this one you have fewer warrants in general because everybody agrees that infrastructure is obviously necessary. So we have to argue then that for contextual reasons, infrastructure in this instance is not a good thing to spend money on. And in order to do that, we have some examples. We have Texas spends too much. Part of the reason Texas spends too much on roads is because,
Bridge to nowhere.
be quiet please, that's in Alaska, not in Texas. So part of the reason why Texas spends too much on roads is because Texas and Texans in general tend to be libertarian and they tend to say this is what government ought to spend money on. This is example A. Example B, bridge to nowhere. Which is
Darn.
Pin what?
spend on unnecessary. Guys, I hate hearing those questions. I'll repeat it a bunch of times. Don't ask. Texas spends too much on roads. Bridge to nowhere. Spend on unnecessary projects. Number 2. Infrastructure, this is more defense than anything else, but there's not a lot of really good attacks on infrastructure projects. So, infrastructure produces economic benefits only when new or comprising a substantial improvement to the status quo. Alright, so basically you're saying, well look, my opponents are trying to claim this is mostly defense. Hold that thought, Allison, I'll get to you in a second. This is mostly defense because it's saying, yes, infrastructure produces economic benefits, but not here and now. If we were to go to Africa and build a road where there is no road, that would indeed produce big economic benefits. However, that's not the situation in America right now. Right now, the problem that we're having is not that poor people don't have any roads to get from point A to point B. It's that they don't get their fair share of the wealth distribution. That's the argument, right? That it's unfair. Okay. Now, 3. Number 3 is an issue of justice. So,
issue of justice.
Forcing the poor to work for rich corporate. Whenever you're talking about something bad in this resolution, you're on this side, you want to throw the word corporate in there for the judges. Now, what you're actually saying is nothing of any meaningful content at all, but a lot of people assume corporations are bad. Forcing the poor to work for rich corporate contractors, people who get the contract from the government, is an unjust way to address disparities.
So much writing.
Okay, so for 3A and B,
Right.
you need to point out that
Rainbow color.
prefer a reparations model rather than a employment model. And call this 3.5. It's not really a sub-point. It's not really a distinct point either. Is that poverty isn't caused by unemployment. Welfare currently has a work requirement.
Boop, boop.
So if you are currently on welfare and you have a job, then what you need to do is what? Quit your existing job to get one of these new jobs?
No.
So the problem is not that you need a job, it's that you need more money. So why is it giving you a construction job, building public infrastructure, going to help? It's not. And in fact, you could argue, Henrina, you could argue that if you have a bunch of new jobs that are potentially available, that poor people who currently have jobs that are at least better than nothing might quit those jobs in hope of getting one of the new jobs, then not get the new job and be worse off than they were before. So it's certainly an argument that could be made. Is there anything else on this paper? Oh, right. Remember, there are certain things that are not public infrastructure projects. Make sure when you are on neg,
Is that the cat? What is that? Is totally the cat.
don't let app privately fund things. Make them pay tax dollars, and make them pay tax dollars in the interest of alleviating income disparities.
Privately?
Right. They might say, well, look, with infrastructure projects, we can engage in a public-private partnership that shifts much of the burden away from the taxpayers and onto developers. That's not spending on public infrastructure projects. That's spending on public-private partnerships. Don't let them do that. It specifies public infrastructure for a reason. It specifies it so that you, on the neg, can eliminate that ground from your opponent's argument chain. Don't let them avoid spending taxpayer dollars. Why? Because when we're spending taxpayer dollars on make-up projects, like let's make up a project so that we can spend money on it, which is what this is, then we're necessarily going to be involving contractors. Contractors are the private businesses that do the actual work. That's different than a public-private partnership. A public-private partnership means some private investors pay for the work. Doing the work, paid for by the government, is done by private businesses though. The government doesn't really have like Caltrans. The federal government doesn't have its version of Caltrans. Caltrans in California are the people who wear the orange suits. And you see orange cones and they're doing road work.
Oh.
That's Caltrans. They are the division, they are a part of the California government that is in charge of maintaining the roads. What?
I can't refer B on 8.1B. I can't see what it says.
Spend on unnecessary projects. Bridge to nowhere. Spend on unnecessary projects. Infrastructure produces economic benefits only when new or comprising a substantial improvement to the status quo. If we go build roads in Africa where there are no roads, Tyler,
Yeah.
I am on now the affirmative side, and you are on the negative side. I want you to imagine a scenario.
Okay.
I have made the claim on the affirmative side that public infrastructure projects produce big economic benefits because they increase productivity and efficiency and economic activity. What is your answer?
What?
See, you're not paying any
Wait, no.
attention.
Then I'll say that you're just trying to like not pay.
Emma?
I'm just gonna say stuff.
I won't let you.
Emma!
Wait, you say that.
I want to know. I am on the affirmative side. I have just made the argument that we should invest in public infrastructure because it pays economic dividends. In other words, it makes more economic activity and improves the economy and increases the GDP. How do you answer that?
I won't let you privately fund things.
I'm not trying to privately fund things. I'm publicly funding them. Emma?
If you if you want like people on welfare to work, people with jobs but they work for the rich corporates, then if you ask them to go to different jobs, it'll make it worse.
Okay, so you could argue he's making income inequality worse, but I'm saying directly respond to the claim that infrastructure produces economic benefits. It's right in front of you in orange.
It's a bridge to nowhere.
No.
It produces
It's near.
What is it, Chilo?
infrastructure can produce
I
benefits.
Okay, Chilo, you read the part of the sentence that expresses the exact opposite of what the sentence means to express. Okay, yeah, infrastructure produces economic benefits. Where and when?
Only
Here and
comprising
now.
a substantial improvement to the status quo.
Right. So look, if I go to Africa where there is no road, let's say in the middle of the jungle, and I build a road, is that going to increase economic activity in that part of the jungle? Yes, of course it will. Either somebody will drive now to that part of the jungle and they'll go gather some fruit or something. That's economic activity. Or somebody will set up a fruit stand there, selling fruit to people who drive on the road. That's economic activity. You build a road where there is no road, economic activity will ensue. For sure it will increase economic activity. But your point, if you are on the neg, is what? If I make the claim that building roads here, we should build roads in Los Angeles because that's going to increase economic activity, what's your response? Los Angeles already has roads. Your point is, you only get that warrant. That warrant only works. Will you stop playing Crinkle Frankle?
When you didn't have roads in the first place.
Yes, that only works when you don't have roads in the first place. Or let's say you need like a 4-lane road and you only currently have a 1-lane road. Well, obviously it's going to show economic benefits. Sit down. There's no reason for you to come over here. I don't care. Throw it away at the end of class. Put it on your desk. Make a little trash pile. I'll have everybody else put their trash on your desk too. How about that? No. Make her desk the dump. Can you stop with the bag? Can you put it away someplace and not play with it and touch it? Okay. Guys, you have to understand this, right? This is a core response. It is defensive, but it will mitigate their impacts. So if I say, the World Bank says that increasing infrastructure project spending produces this level of economic growth. What is your answer? Not here, not now, it doesn't. Right? Why not? Simple. You just said it, because we already have it. Listen, if you're cold all the time and I buy you a sweater, I've just decreased your coldness by 10%. Maybe if I buy you a sweater and a parka and a hat, I've decreased it by 30%. Now, at that point, if I buy you another sweater and another jacket, I have not made you any less cold. Because you're not going to wear 5 jackets and 5 sweaters. Right? You don't need 5 jackets and 5 sweaters. At that point, you'd be too hot and I'd have to buy you an air conditioner. Do you understand this analogy? Why will the sweaters not keep us warm? Because we already have plenty of sweaters and jackets, blankets, and heaters. So it's not going to cause any improvement. Coldness is not a problem. Now we might have some other problem at the house that needs attention, like the dog is starving. Coldness is not a problem. The dog is starving is a problem. We should feed the dog. That's this resolution in a nutshell, right? Except economic growth isn't heating and poor people aren't dogs. And they aren't starving either.
Some are.
Yeah, some are. Not all.
Not in America. Now look, if they are, it's in purpose, if it's in America. Now look at this. I don't understand why it was that I asked this question, Angela, and got a bunch of blank stares because it's onboarding so many places. What do you say, Chelo, if I tell you you need to invest in public infrastructure instead of welfare because infrastructure will produce economic benefits? What do you say?
I already have.
You already have the economic benefits? You already have the cheese? What? So what do you want to say about the affirmative programs that they want to spend money on?
It'll just cause more poverty.
Why?
Because if their job works for the rich, if they work for the rich corporates, then it's just.
It's not going to cause more poverty, and it's going to increase the disparity. It's a slight difference, right? If she has $1,000 and she has $10, and she loses $100 and she still has $10. Now she has $900, she has $100. There's been a net loss. There's only increased poverty, but the gap is smaller. And if she loses $100 and she loses $1, still the gap is smaller, even though they've only gotten poorer. According to this resolution, that's enough for us to affirm. So one good way for the NAIC to argue this is, like it or not, we have to give poor people money, we have to take it from rich people and give it to poor people if we want to alleviate income disparity. Why? Because any other methodology like giving them jobs is going to involve hiring whom?
Poor people.
Who does it go through? Okay, well maybe it will hire poor people, but who does it go through?
Poor people.
Look at the green number 3 for God's sake. Galena.
Oh, contract.
Contractors.
Contractors. Rich corporate contractors. Big corporations that hire poor people to do all the dirty work and keep all the money for themselves. Is that how we're going to alleviate income disparity? That's just going to make it worse. Right? So, then what if you make that argument, what do you think they're going to answer? They're going to answer with, well, you're not factoring in the broader economic benefits of infrastructure. You're not factoring in the fact that when we improve infrastructure, we increase GDP, and that makes everybody more well off. You're not factoring that stuff in. Well, what are you going to say?
The blitz to nowhere.
What? What are you gonna
Learn.
do? What?
The infrastructure produces benefits, but it's not here and now.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma, for saving me. I was about to go throw myself out the door into the carpet, down to the ground, and just hope somebody runs me over with the car. So, Emma, why doesn't it produce benefits here and now? Or somebody else, Emma's already saved today once, I'm not going to impose upon her again. Can somebody else please come to my rescue? Why doesn't it produce benefits here and now?
Because we already have it.
That's right, because we already have it. Okay, we don't need another sweater, we already have a sweater. We're not cold. What is happening instead of us being cold?
The dog is starving.
The dog is starving. Which means what?
We need to feed the dog.
And how do you feed the dog if you're naked?
Give them food.
You take money from the rich people and give it to the poor people. That's the only way to really alleviate income disparities meaningfully, unless you make everybody an owner of their own enterprises, right? The problem is everybody is an employee. Well, of course there's going to be income disparities when everybody chooses to be an employee. Don't choose to be an employee. The government shouldn't regulate the shit out of everything so that you can, it's almost impossible to open a business, right? Because of all these regulations. If you are currently a poor person, you do not have the capital, the working capital to open any kind of business, in large part because there are so many regulations and hoops and other nonsense to jump through. So, it's another wonderful day, learning about how the government's bad and how they are in your way, always making everybody sad
Do you miss the
and
piano?
causing poverty by giving welfare checks.
Oh, he does.
And they think they are helping, but they're just sending them straight to hell.
Do you miss the piano?
I do.